Why, hello there, everybody. Welcome back to 80 Days. I am Super Paul Games. We are circumnavigating the globe, at least trying to do it within 80 days. I don't know if we're going to make it or not. We're just a little bit outside of Japan, steaming towards San Francisco. We're on day 47. Our funds are getting very low. It's this Saturday. Monsieur Fogg more or less is happy with us. The salty air blew cool and sharp against my face as I opened the door onto the top deck. Deck. It was painfully early, and the only passengers awake were a group of Chinese laborers hunched miserably near the stern. One of their numbers was vomiting copiously into a bucket. I offered him my sincere commiserations. I am sorry you were Mr. Pukesworth. I myself had developed a sturdy set of sea legs, but I had every sympathy for those less fortunate. Unfortunately, the bilious laborer seemed to take my muttered words as some form of challenge and mockery. I'm going to switch to Mandarin. I've learned a little bit. Deploying the few words of the tongue I had learned during my travels, they warmed considerably and even invited me to sit and play dice with them till the sun rose. Sweet, I've made friends. Come on, can't you make this damn ship go any faster? Greetings, Captain.
Passport out, what do you want?
What can you tell me about the San Francisco to Burlington route?
Yes, well, one can sail aboard the Dark Queen from Burlington to New Orleans, but it's slow going.
I do not want to go from Burlington, Vermont, I believe it is, to New Orleans. I want to know about New York City. Burlington to... What about Burlington to Washington?
No, I don't believe so.
I don't care about any of these. Burlington to Omaha? Enough talking. How about we play some cards?
Most generous.
Tell me about New Orleans. I've been there before.
Well, you can obtain trombones in New Orleans that will sell for a fortune in New York.
I have a feeling New Orleans is going to be way out of our way. How about New Orleans to Houston?
I think you'll be disappointed.
New Orleans to Dallas? I'm learning about all these southern routes I don't really care about. Oh, not Burlington, Vermont. Burlington, what is that, Illinois? I accompanied Monsieur Fogg to a game of whist with a family of American missionaries who were traveling back to San Francisco for a family wedding. My master began strongly, but Mademoiselle Loretta, the eldest girl, had a sharp eye and won several hands in a row. A new round was dealt. I noticed Mademoiselle Lorette had slipped a card into her sleeve. I blinked twice in pure astonishment and glanced up at her face, which was utterly calm, betraying nothing of the action of her nimble fingers. But Monsieur Fogg and I had turned around enough hands that I was quite certain what normal play looked like. The minister's daughter was a cheat, and a skilled one at that. I'm not going to narc on her. Good, screw my master over a little bit. I filed away the knowledge for an opportune moment, catching her eye to convey that I had noticed her little sleight of hand. She blushed with all the manufactured prettiness of an accomplished actress, then raised one eyebrow in silent challenge. I want to punch that eyebrow off of her face. Our journey continued on. Our character's now suave. Oh yeah, you know it, baby. Uh-oh. The master is not happy. I will primp you. There you go. Trimming his mustache and his brow. I spent today in the company of the Water Lilies submariners. They were all hardy men and women who preferred the dim enclosed spaces of the hold to the top deck. Deck. Too much sky, one of them said, squinting suspiciously. Her crewmate nodded. Oh, that's fresh air. They suddenly shuddered collectively, and I suggested a bracing race to the boiler room. Okay, I'm going to try and impress them. I impressed them with my physical prowess, coming in a respectable fourth just behind the commander. She was half Japanese, half American sailor by the name of Davis. Zoom into my friends. Yes. Do me to your friends, what? You didn't say that? I'll do you. She said, clapping me heavily on the shoulder. Now a rematch of your choice. How about a blowjob off? Very well, I declared, and promptly suggested a drinking contest. A grin of vicious, unqualified glee spread across Commander Davis's face. I began to think my suggestion was a poor one. I'm not going to back out. 3 flasks of sake later, I was convinced of my grave error. Commander Davis was apparently legendary for ability to hold her drink, whereas I ended the evening in an unexpected embrace with a starward bulkhead. Oh my god. Oh, I love you, bulkhead. Oh, I broke my dick on you. Not perhaps one of my more successful adventures. Oh, come on, hurry up, steamship. There we go, prim and proper. Taking care of our master. I was climbing the rigging, entirely innocently, of course. You know how you do. You're on a ship and sometimes you just climb the rigging for the hell of it. And not at all for the purposes of spying on the crew, to appease my own rapacious curiosity, when I heard two of the crewmen arguing in a pidgin, a mix of English and Japanese. I'm going to peer upwards. Eager to match faces and expressions to the voices I could make out, they were both Japanese, but one of them was dressed in Western style, and the other Japanese, Hanton and Hakama. As I watched, the trouser-wearing sailor grabbed violently at his compatriot, but missing his footing and tumbled over to the platform's edge. I was unable to look away as he fell. His body lay still and crumpled on the deck, but I heard his scream in my head for days afterwards. I looked up and managed to catch sight of the fallen sailor's companion, his face still pallid. Was that guilt in his eyes, or merely shock? He slipped away before his captain arrived, and I followed him. He retired to the crew quarters, and I began to hear the sound of desperate muttered prayers. Oh, that's sad. Come on, ship, hurry the fuck up! Alright, gotta take care of Mr. Fogg. It's like, well done. I like a Monsieur Fogg. I'm like, Monsieur Fogg, I saw somebody murdered today. He's like, my mustache. The Water Lily's crew held a funeral for the dead sailor. I was not specifically involved, but felt a sense of responsibility, having witnessed the man's fatal plunge. Captain Wicker led the Christian service with customary grimness. I was surprised by the absence of the sailor's companion, who had been arguing with him just before his fall. Yet he was not the only one missing from the funeral. Oddly, only half the crew had come to pay their respects. I'm gonna ask my neighbor about this breach of custom, and she narrowed her eyes. Joseph was a convert, she told me defiantly. The captain taught him to read the Bible himself. The rest of the crew are heathens! Heathens! They stay away from our godly ceremonies. Oh dear. Dear God, please make this damn ship go faster. So I take care of Mr. Fogg. Storm, too exhausted to write properly. Suffice to say, we were still afloat. As we settled down for the night, I was struck by an unrelated thought. Monsieur Fogg, the dateline! Oh, tell me that gives us an extra day. I have altered our watch already, Monsieur Fogg replied calmly. Did you think I might forget? My master was, of course, correct. With an eye such as his, it was unthinkable he might miss such a detail. We had reached the point directly opposite Greenwich, so we're like at the halfway point. Day 51. That is, we gotta pick up the speed. Where hours we had lost in traveling around the Earth, we're added back a whole extra day. Let us talk with Monsieur Fogg. Oh no, this guy. Greetings, Reverend. Hey, Passapartout, good day to you. Can you tell me about San Francisco to Salt Lake City? Oh, you mentioned trains. I've been told Calgary is connected to Regina by rail. I don't know if we're gonna go through Canada, but... For instance, the only bank in Regina has gone bankrupt, but listen now, would you believe it? I introduced my daughter to cars to occupy her mind. Indeed, she's a cheat, though. It may have worked. She's rather too occupied by them now, I fear. Great story. What about Salt Lake City? I tend not to discuss such things. What, you hate the Mormons? Salt Lake City to Burlington? You've mentioned trains. I've always told my brother, I always wanted to travel the Canadian Pacific Railway from Gastown to Calgary. Alright, tell me about Calgary. Really, can't tell you anything. Calgary to Winnipeg? You mentioned trains. I've been told a Lance is linked to Washington aboard the Piedmont Airline. Winnipeg to Toronto? Excuse me, I must go. Domino's! You love Domino's, don't you, dweeb? Most generous. I want to know from Burlington. The most efficient way to Burlington is through Cheyenne. Great, but we need stuff that is east of Burlington. None of this is helping me, man. Get me to Detroit. Get me to Toledo. Cleveland. Something like that. New Mexico's not going to help the New Orleans? Well, go to New Orleans if you like jazz. New Orleans to New York? You've mentioned trains. I've been told my mother once took the... I've been told my mother once took the Winnipeg and Duluth Railroad from Chicago to Winnipeg. Chicago! That's what we need to know. Where's Chicago on here? Okay, tell me about Winnipeg. Winnipeg to Chicago. I've once heard... yeah, Chicago. Tell me about Chicago. Chicago's a hub. I know, the quickest way to Chicago from here is to go via Salt Lake City. Great, we want to hit Salt Lake City. Alright, tell me about Chicago routes. Where's Chicago on here? Chicago to... oh, crap. None of that's gonna help. I don't care about Duluth. I should have asked about New York routes. Oh, well. Yeah, because we're not going to go up to Washington if we can avoid it. We're probably not going to go through Canada. Worst case scenario, we can drop down to Atlanta. I mean, I guess we could go down to New Orleans and up and around. This seems like the long way around, though. Yesterday's storm hit us without warning. One moment I was preparing Monsieur Fogg's shaving water to exactly the right temperature. The next we were being tossed about from one end of the cabin to the other. You'll probably blame me for that, too. We're only lucky that the bed was securely nailed to the floor. The ship shuddered and moaned as the seas flickered with the lightning. The storm lasted nearly 6 hours, blew us far off course. The captain spent most of the day peering at his charts, trying to locate our position. There is no land anywhere upon the horizon. On the plus side, relations with Monsieur Fogg have slightly improved. Man, things are not going well here. Not at all. Well, everybody, I hate to make this a short episode, but it's going to be. I'm worried we're going to get to San Francisco and it's going to be like day 60 or day 65 at this rate. It's not going so good. It might be day 66. What did they say? It would take 14 days? Day 56? I don't know. I don't remember what day we left. Poop. Oh, and we got to find a route from San Francisco to Chicago. If we can do that and get to Chicago, there's got to be a Chicago to New York route. Either way, I'll see you all next time when hopefully we'll finally get to the new world. Take it easy, everybody.